And ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Feel Good Show. And as always, each and every week, we look forward to this segment because it's that time where we can gain some insights, not only into ourselves, but into the world in which we live. And nobody depicts that any better than the host of this segment, the one and only T-Boz. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Williams. It's Friday Eve. Good morning. I am so grateful to be back after 2 weeks. Oh, wow, look at all the people coming in. George, we got enough chairs? Wow, Jock, they're piling in. Oh, wait, there's a group over here. Oh, where are you guys from? St. Bridget's in Cheshire. Oh, I've been there. It's a beautiful church. Father Roman from Torrington is there. Great young priest. His name is Father Yates. Oh, I'd love to have him on the program. He is has an amazing history. But, wow, you folks found out about, a friend of yours. Well, then you guys could all sit together if you want. That's fine. George, bring him in. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for squeezing this segment into your busy, busy morning. I know a lot of you are out there making deals, running jobs, taking care of the kids, grandchildren, the yard, all of that. But I think I saw a yellow leaf in the backyard the other day. So anyway, enjoy cutting the grass while you can. So I had a wonderful time, We're going to talk about that. Got a great program lined up for you today. But before we start, I got a couple of quick sports things. And I know Jock is happy with this. The Yankees are in first place, 72 wins, 50 losses. And my buddy Jim, his Mets, they're not too far, third place with 62 wins and 58 losses. So let's hope that as we get into October, maybe these two teams will be battling it out. I have a couple of shout-outs before we get over to that guy, okay? And the shout-outs go like this. There was a young lady I met about a month ago. Her name is Elisa. And I talked about this when we did the show about aging. But unfortunately, that show got lost, and so I'm going to re-say this in the shout-out. Elisa is a 19-year-old young lady who is a volunteer fireman for, I believe it's the town of Farmington. 19 years old. This woman has more chutzpah than people 3 times her age. And we talk about the youth of today. We talk about how they don't volunteer. The problem sometimes with the media boys and girls is they don't shine the light on women like Elisa. And I say women, some of you would say girl, but what a nice young lady. And if I was in a burning building, I would want her to come in and save me because she has it all together. So great work there. Keep up the good work and all of that. And then I also want to welcome some new listeners from faraway places like Virginia. My friend Rob and his wife Judy with an I. Steve, the driver for Petrocones, loves WAPJ, listens to everything, and he likes this show. And John, my buddy there, Northwest Transit, today might be the first day he's tuning in, so welcome aboard to WAPJ and words of wisdom and moments of meditation. So now, George, you look really sharp today. Remember it's Father's Day show, everyone? He said his father taught him to dress nice, look nice. He's got a beautiful white shirt on, Oxford collar, black pants, and nice shoes. You taking Alicia to lunch today? Oh, no, she listens on demand. She won't hear it. Oh, okay. I almost messed up the surprise. Anyway, but you look sharp, and I think you could raise the air conditioning a little bit. All right, over to Stan. Stan, the coffee man. Look at him. He's looking sharp as heck, too. And what do we have in the coffee pot today, big guy? Augusto Espresso. Oh, for August. Wow, you're clever. We do have a decaf version, and my favorite. Did you make this? Pineapple upside down cake. Oh, look at all the pineapples. Oh, I can't wait to delve into this. Oh, for the new people, if you want to go up during the program and grab something to eat, that's fine. And then we have herbal tea. The sponsor for today, refreshment table. I'm having too much fun today. For the refreshment table is none other than Darcy Abbott, and she is a real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. She also does 2 shows on WAPJ Monday at 4 o'clock and this morning at 7, featuring all original artists. fabulous programs. You guys should catch that. But let me tell you something. She runs her real estate business the way she dedicates herself to WAPJ. She's phenomenal. So Darcy Abbott at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services sponsoring the refreshment table. So let's get to work because we got a lot to do today, and we want to end on time. I was inspired by this topic, and it's called Getting Along with Others. And I was inspired by my Pocono vacation with the beautiful lady Diana. I met her entire family, and let me tell you something, boys and girls. 3 sisters, Diana, her sister next to her, Judy, and then her sister Tracy. And then her brother-in-law, Rob, and PJ, and then the whole gang that I met down there. Was about 14 of us there in the Poconos, along with the bears and the deer. And the Carlson sisters got it going on. Because what I felt after that week was a family, in-laws and outlaws and everyone in between, that truly, truly, truly love each other. In this day and age, when you could put a bunch of 14 people in a big house, I would say, for a week, and you could just feel the love at all the dinners and meals we had, the walks we did, the hanging out at the lake we did. The Carlson sisters got it going on. And I was so inspired about how they got along. They all have different opinions. They all have different viewpoints on different things. But the basis of their togetherness is that they truly love each other. And so, inspired by that, I thought with this little election that's coming up, and my show is not political, but we do have an election coming up, a big one, as Ed Sullivan used to say, a really big show. And, emotions are running high. And that's okay, because Jesus tells us we should not have mediocrity. We should be passionate on what we believe in. And that's good. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is when all of that gets in the way of what I saw the Carlson sisters and their brother-in-laws able to do, okay? And so that's why I came up with this topic, getting along with others. So we're going to go through this, and let's start with Matthew chapter 12, verse 33. Either make the tree good or evil. You can recognize a tree by the fruit it bears. What fruit are we bearing? Okay? Are we bearing ugly fruit or are we bearing beautiful fruit? We jump down. I'm going to tie these two together in a minute. Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6 says, whatever you sow bountiful, you will reap bountiful. So what you sow, you will reap. What are we all really sowing with our friends and neighbors and family members and nieces and nephews and grandchildren and all that? Or are we the kind of tree that people want to come up to and say, I want that fruit. I want what's hanging on that tree. Or are we the kind of tree that people say, let's cut the damn thing down? You know, this show is about looking introspectively. We're not here to convince you to be anyone but the beautiful person that God created you to be. But sometimes there are outside forces and sometimes things within ourselves and past experience that cause us to prevent us from that goodness. We look at our next quote, which is great, from Romans. And Romans chapter 8, verse 6 says this, the mind controlled by the Spirit is peace. Boom. The mind controlled by the Spirit is peace. Not the mind controlled by the media, not the mind controlled by things you've heard maybe from a bad coach or teacher or sometimes bad parent. The mind controlled by the Spirit is peace. What we need in our community, in our world today, is peace. And I'm going to talk about something, hopefully I get to it today, about peace. So the mind controlled by the Spirit is peace. I had a perfect opportunity. This is going to sound weird, especially to the new people, not used to this, to the people from St. Bridget. I had a perfect opportunity to verbally hurt someone about 3 weeks ago. What? You're an inspirational speaker. I'm human. When I do this show, I'm trying to help myself too. I had a perfect opportunity. A person asked me a question, And metaphorically, imagination-wise, I had that bow and that arrow of insult pulled back, aiming right at that person. I could have let that arrow go, pow, and insulted that person and hurt that person. Yes, right. The human heart is deceitful above all things. I looked at that person, and I took the bow and the arrow, and I put it down. Boom. And all I said was, yes, things are going well. The mind controlled by the spirit. The problem is our mind is controlled by outside forces. Because I'm not perfect, but I stay in the light, and I pray a lot, and I work through my challenges. And so I put the bow and arrow down. I felt so much better about that than if I let the arrow go. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 9. You have loved goodness. I love when scripture is so personal. You, like as if God is just talking to you. He is. You have loved goodness and hated wickedness. Therefore, God, your God, has set you above your companions and has anointed you with the oil of joy. Because you have chosen goodness, joy. You know what real joy is, boys and girls? Not what they try to sell you on TV. Those are temporary pleasure things. Buy this, drive that, live this, have that, eat this, wear that. No, that's not joy. Joy is what I felt in the Poconos. Joy is when I hang out with my little big sister Barbara and that guy over there, Stan the coffee man, okay? And this guy, George, by the door, and his wonderful girlfriend, Alicia. That's joy. The camaraderie of people helping each other, sharing each other's burdens, talking to each other, that's real joy. So when you choose goodness above evil, like I did with the, metaphorically speaking, bow and arrow, that's real joy. But we've been convinced that the only way we can have joy is if we wear it, eat it, or buy it. But it's not. It's not that. By choosing goodness, you can have real joy. This statement, what's your motive when you react or act to people or situations? Are your motives when you react to people, are you there to understand someone? Are you there to heal that situation, that person? Or are you looking to destroy? Boom. I constantly look at my motives. What's your motives in a situation of strife dealing with someone? What's your motive when your brother-in-law thinks different than you in terms of religion or politics or things like that? What's your motive? Is your motive to heal, understand, listen, at least listen to the person? Or are you out to destroy the person? What's your motive? You got to look at that, because inwardly, as we fix ourselves, as we heal ourselves, as we align ourselves with the mind controlled by the Spirit, right? The mind controlled by the Spirit is peace. And right back to what fruit do we bear? Henry Ford. Now, this was actually going to be in another show, but I moved it into this one, another program, I should say. Henry Ford says this: obstacles are those frightful things we see when we take our eyes off the goal. Obstacles. So he's talking about career building a business, all that. I'm taking that and I put it into this program because obstacles, things like prejudice and judgmentality, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. The goal is to have what I saw in the Poconos. The goal is to have togetherness. The goal is to have happiness. The goal is to be anointed with oil. The goal is to have the fruit on the tree that someone wants to actually pick off. The goal is to sow bountifully and to reap. So obstacles are the things we see, the difference in the person, their view, their political view, their tattoo, the ring in their nose, the ring in their eyebrow, the fact that they didn't finish college, the fact that they took an extra course, the fact that they cracked up the car, blah, 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 goes on and on. Those are the obstacles that unfortunately we look at and we talk about. But if we take, those are the frightful things we see, but when we take our eyes off the gold, that we see, but if we see the goodness in the person, if we see the heart, as someone told me, in the person, if we see the fact that they're doing their best in the person, then we have the fruit on the tree that someone might want. What kind of tree are you? How do you want to be remembered? We talk about my buddy Jim Boscarino. His mother passed away a while ago. The wonderful legacy her and her late husband left up at Lord's Shrine. That's how she's going to be remembered. How do you want to be remembered? How do you want someone to talk about you at your eulogy? All right, I know Jock is busy with something during the time of the show, but I believe you're there. Can you do these sponsors now so we can roll along?
Absolutely. And we want to thank our sponsors for allowing us to bring you the quality community radio programming that we are witnessing at this particular time. And we want to encourage each and every one of you to take advantage of the opportunities that you have to contribute to your local community radio station, WAPJ Torrington. We are a nonprofit local community radio station. We are volunteer operated, listener supported. So any contributions that you feel worthy of bringing to the station, please feel free to do so. And we want to thank T-Boz for taking advantage of that. And we value his contributions to the radio station that are embodied in this weekly segment, Words of Wisdom and Moments of Meditation. So with that being said, we thank you so very much. And we turn the floor back over to T-Boz for more Words of Wisdom and Moments of Meditation.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. And I have to say, everyone, I was not able to go, but the Jock Williams experience at Crossroads, I heard from that guy over there. Yeah, you can have a piece of cake, man. That's fine. Stan, can you help her? Stan and Barbara were there. It was a phenomenal experience. So I just want to say congratulations, Jock, to that effort to making the downtown a place where we have arts and entertainment and some good times. Dale Carnegie. Now, by the way, the program today, there's not going to be a lot of famous people quotes. I'm doing that on purpose. I'm using a lot of scripture to kind of show you that all those books, Tony Robbins, Dale Carnegie, and all that stuff you see in the library, it all is based in scripture. You're going to be surprised. You're going to think some of this scripture stuff that I'm going to read to you today was just written the other day. Dale Carnegie. Here's what he says about getting along with people. The 3 C's. I took this course and I graduated top of my class. Sorry. The 3 C's. Never criticize, condemn, and complain. And that's all we do is criticize, condemn, and complain. That's all we do is we criticize people for what they bought or where they live. We condemn different social programs or something, and then we complain and complain and complain. It's a little different if your friend is going through a situation in life and they need an ear. That's a little different. Something like it happened to me over the winter. But we complain. I mean, here, let me ask 3 people real quick. Some person, raise your hand. What do you criticize? Your grandson. Okay. Lady down in front, can you pick something you condemn? Social programs and policies. Okay. Do you try to understand? Do you ever talk to someone like with your grandson? Do you ever sit and talk with him and find out where he's thinking and where he's going, or do you just criticize? Okay, that's fine. We're all here to help ourselves. Okay. And what about who wants to handle complaint? Someone from saying, but what do you want to complain about, ma'am? Well, what do you find yourself complaining about? The way your children are raising your grandchildren. Okay. And again, do we take the time to sit and listen? Do we talk? Do we ask questions, not to be nosy? Or do we just do the 3 C's, never criticize, condemn, and complain? Here's the question I have for all of you in the middle of the program. Why are we spending so much time and wasting so much time trying to hatch people? Boom. People are going to live their lives. Helping someone in a tough time is one thing, but we try to hatch people. We try to sit on them and turn them into something that they're never going to be. Now, if someone is looking for a mentor and they need help to move ahead education-wise, that's one thing. But there are people who have lives that they enjoy doing what they're doing. I've done this too, but we waste a lot of time trying to hatch people. What we should do is to try to understand people. Maybe instead of hatching the person, you should talk to the person. Maybe find out why they enjoy what they do or why they don't want to try something new. Do we do that? Going back to motive. What's your motive when you're trying to hack someone? Are you really trying to help them or you're out to destroy them? So why do we spend so much time trying to hatch people? Steve Miller had a great song, Sunshine, 1972. And the great verse in it says, you can't even run your own life. Why do you think you can run mine? What do we say at the end of the show? Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. You know, helping someone, mentoring someone, guiding someone, that's good. But we spend a lot of time, and that's why we don't get along, because we're trying to hatch them. We're trying to convince them to our way of thinking. Dale Carnegie teaches this. You'll never win an argument. If I try to tell a Mets fan why the Yankees are so great, you know what that Mets fan's going to do? Become more of a Mets fan, and vice versa. So the way you meet in the middle is you understand. You talk to people. We're going to see this great scripture quote. Here's some other bad habits we have. We speculate about others. We spend so much time speculating why so-and-so did this and so-and-so did that and this. And what I learned in therapy, let it go. Forget it. The person does something dangerously stupid, that's on them. Let it go. Anticipate. We talked about that. We anticipate. We're going to be going away in 2 weeks. We're anticipating. You know, we're meshugging over it. We're like, oh, God, you know, is the weather going to be nice? Is it going to be a tornado? Is it going to be a hurricane? Am I going to see Dorothy flying by in that house? When Lady Diane and I, we didn't anticipate the Poconos. We got there, bang, it was fantastic. I didn't sit there and say, gee, it's going to be 14 people. I don't know. And where am I going to sleep? And, is there going to be enough light? Because I don't see it, blah, blah, blah. I didn't, you know what? I was so thrilled out of my skin to spend the whole week with this beautiful woman and her family. I didn't care if they put me in a pup tent. Okay? So anticipate. The other word we used, and my late wife hated this word, hated it, if. When I would be on the phone with my brother when we had the business together, and sometimes my mother, and we go through if. When I got off the phone, you know what that great woman said to me? I can't stand when you use the word if, because it didn't happen. You know what she said? Why did you use the word did? What did happen and address that challenge? So if. So we use if my brother-in-law, if my sister-in-law, if my neighbor, if. Who cares? It's, again, waste of time. Trying to hatch people. The mind controlled by the spirit is peace. Look inward and really see why you're speculating over someone or anticipating the things that are going to happen. This is probably one of the best scripture things I've ever read. You would think this was written today. This is over 2,000 years ago. Romans chapter 14, the number 14 a lot today, I don't know why. Romans chapter 14, number 1. Sort out. That means take out. Sort out opinions from facts. Boom. Accept the ones whose faith is weak. Imagine that. The ones weak. We don't accept the ones that faith is weak. We want to hit them over the head with the Bible and tell them what they should think. Okay, this is St. Paul starting the new church. Accept the ones whose faith is weak without quarreling over disputable matter. Bing, bang, ba-boom. Bing, bang, boom. Accept the ones that are weak. What he's really saying, accept the people who don't think like you. Accept someone's opinion, at least listen to it, like the Carlson sisters do. And they didn't quarrel over disputable matters. We quarrel instead of love. We quarrel instead of understand. We quarrel instead of embrace. We quarrel instead of support. We think we're doing good, but we're not. This is 2,000 years ago, and I love the opening line. Sort out opinions over fact. Sure, you know the difference. Someone's opinion and the actual fact are two different things. The Apostle James, chapter 4, verse 12, says, be aware, do not evaluate. Goes right back to our bad habits. I mean, this stuff is 2,000 years ago. Poop, it's right into what we're doing today. All right? Be aware, but don't evaluate. Live your life. Love the people you're with. Spend the time you're with. Find commonality in each other, like what I saw these sisters do. I said when I said grace the last night that were there. I said, Jesus says, whatever you treasure, so will your heart be. And what this family treasured above everything else is each other. And there's a new concept, each other. And that's what I felt there. And that's why I keep going back to this, but I was so inspired because I know a lot of families today struggle because we all have difference of opinion. Toba Betta says this, love without hope, love without hope will not survive. All right? Love without faith changes nothing. Love gives power to hope and faith. You can't have hope in someone if you don't love them. You can't have faith in someone or in God if you don't love him. So love is the catalyst for hope and faith. You say, I have great faith. But if you really don't love, if you say evil things about people, I don't care if you have 100 crosses in your house, you didn't get it. If you say, I hope that person does good, but, all right, if you don't have love in there, then you're living a lie. You're a hypocrite. Okay, we look over, as you start to get close to the end of the program, we look over at Matthew and chapter 14, verse 17, and it says, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes, that's all we have. So here's Jesus sitting on a mountain. He's got 5,000 people sitting around him by the Sea of Galilee, and his band of misfits come up to him after they've seen numerous miracles, right? How many times have we seen things, right? And they go up to him and they say, it's really rotten to be us. All we got is 2 fish and some bread. So that's all we have. Is that what we tell God? This is all I have, God, my impatience, my inability to see good in people, my criticize, complain, and condemn, my unrational motives. Is that what we bring to God like these guys did? All we got is some bread and some fish. And what does he do? He feeds 5,000. God can take all of your bad habits, all of your inequities, all of the things that don't work, just like I with the arrow, and he could feed your 5,000. He can make you more patient. He can make you more loving. He can make you more understanding. He can make the Spirit bring peace. He could put the better fruit on your tree. So what are you bringing to him? Are you bringing him hopelessness? All we got is bread and fish? Or are you bringing him an honest request to say, help me to be a better person so I can live more harmoniously with my friends, relatives, family, on and on it goes. Right? We look over at, we're okay with time. We got time for the 2 more little things I want to get in here. Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. And it says, unless you become like this little one, this child, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Now, you may say, well, what's so cool about that? Here's what's so cool about that. In the old Greek, the word for child was it. Children were below animals. Women were right even with animals. And then children were called it. They didn't even have an identity. They didn't even have the respect. The word child in the old Greek, as they translated the Bible, was it. So now imagine that, and here's the rabbi, the carpenter's son, saying, if you don't adopt the mindset or the feelings of it, think of the lowest thing you could possibly think of out there today. It, you won't get to heaven. They must have thought that they were having their world rocked upside down. Imagine that. Here's this guy who's the carpenter's son down the street. He's telling them, here it is, folks. If you don't adopt the innocence of a child, you won't get into the kingdom of heaven. What does that mean for us today? We need to be childlike when we're dealing with people. We need to be open, less cynical. We need to be arms open, right? When your grandson comes running in the back door, Papa, Papa, right? Or when your kids were little, Mom, Pa, when they saw you, they came home from camp. Or even your college child, when they come home for the first time, their eyes are open, right? We need, like this little one, we need to be that way. We're too fertilized by life. Boom. Boys and girls, this scripture verse is key, just like the one with Romans about sorting fact from opinion. That's how we get to have the fruit on the tree that people want. There's this great, I think we can do it. There was a student in a class, and I'm going to go through this quick. And there was a student in a class. Then he went on to say there is no measurement for darkness, only light. We can measure the speed of light. We can measure the warmth of light. Then he talked about Newton's prism, and he said that one single ray of light passed through the prism and spread all colors. He said, so you could have total darkness, but as soon as you shine a little bit of light in there, that darkness is dispelled. So there is no measurement. It's another word that man has come up with to describe the absence of light. And then he went on to say, there is no evil in the world, just the absence of love. And the student's name was Albert Einstein. He went on to say that God is love, and the evil that we see in the world, the reason why people don't get along. And some people think that before Vatican II, we were better with fire and brimstone. No. What we lack in each other, in families and in communities and in households and business and workplaces and all that, is not evil. It's the absence of love. That's what creates evil. And Albert Einstein, as you all know, was a scientist. So what are you going to bear? What fruit? Are you going to live in the absence of light and warmth? Are you going to be like the child, the it? Are you going to sort opinion from fact? Are you going to check your motives? Are you going to say to God, all I have is 2 fish and some bread? Or are you going to go with open arms and a humble heart and say, I want to be the best that I can be to bring the best to other people? I talked to Jock right before we came on air. You know, he and I come from different places. From Ohio, I'm from Long Island. He's African-American. I'm Italian descent. You couldn't find 2 people more different. But we're friends. We love each other. And I said, you know, Jock, even though we come from different places, the important thing is we end up at the same place. What we want for Torrington, we want the same. I encourage all of you with this season of election coming up, find with the people you love the same place. The takeaway is from the late John Lennon, this great song, Imagine. And the verse I picked out, and then we're going to get into the song. I hope someday you'll join us. How he says you'll. In other words, just like with Scripture. I always say Scripture's personal, talking to you. He already, right? He's singing the song to you. I hope someday you'll join us. In other words, there are already a group that adopts this peace, and the world will live as one. You can't say it any better than John Lennon. I want to thank you all for joining me today, taking time out of your very busy schedules. George, great job with the new people and helping out here with the air conditioning. You look fantastic. I hope you have a nice lunch. And Stan, as always, fabulous. Everyone stick around. Jock will be over. Beautiful song to follow. And the gang at St. Bernadette's, please come back again. And you know what I say, folks? Be yourself, because everyone else is taken. Jock, spin the vinyl.